Okay, welcome back, everybody, to the official Penny Stock Billionaire live stream. We are back with our number one penny stock trillionaire, Mr. Sean Black. Sean, welcome back to the program, to the show.
Hey, Jack.
So, Sean, we're going to be talking about a couple of your favorite stocks. One of them, of course, is Visibility Group, VSBY. Hang on a second. Let me just run a quick disclaimer because just to make sure everybody knows, this is sort of this is not official company information. We're not talking about any official company news. It's purely opinion. SmartMoney live chat with Mr. Sean Black. And of course, all these stocks are very high risk and you can lose all your money. Right, Sean?
Yeah, sad but true.
Yes. So this is the reality of the penny stock world. Of course, we're looking for these 10x to 100x winners. Speaking of which, Sean, so the last time we had you back was, I actually forgot, was it like about a month ago?
Yeah, it was. I think,
I think Visby was
50
so
60 cents.
Visby was where? Was it around 60 cents?
We have 55, 60 cents.
Hang on, okay, I'm sorry. I think our internet connection. Our internet connection is frozen for a second.
Oh, mine's good.
Hang on. Okay, yours is good. Okay, you look frozen to me, so it might be my. Okay, whatever. Oh, here we go. Okay, back to normal. Okay. So I think one of the key things, like right now, the stock recently broke out above $1. I think we just touched around $1.10, and I think it's funny. We were talking the other day. And I said, you know what? Like, anytime a stock goes to like $1.25, there's always like these psychological numbers. Like, when a thing first goes to like 15 cents and 25 cents, and then like when a stock goes to like $1, from $1, once it breaks out of $1, the next level to look for is like $1.25. Because like once a stock can touch $1.25, people start extrapolating and they realize, wow, it's already a real number. It's not even $1. It's $1.25. I know psychologically it is kind of a big. Then all of a sudden they think, okay, it go to $2.50, $3, $5. Because once you're in the dollar land, the skies open up.
Yeah, and Jack, some of this stuff when it comes to, I'm going to say the mechanics of trading and stuff like that, it's all pretty new to me, to be honest. A couple guys I definitely lean on a lot and. Get a lot of information. A couple of small groups I'm involved with, and some guys out there are pretty sharp, and certainly have done their best to educate me on how some of that stuff works. I'm learning the technical side of it, but I certainly understand more about the business side, and I look for the actual metrics of the business. Yeah. I look for the inflection points in their business model and what they're doing. The other side of it that you and I.
Sean, this is why I think you add a lot of value, because you're like a real business operator. We talked about this before. You were extremely successful in the restaurant business, which is, again, one of the most challenging businesses there is. I don't think there's anything much harder than that, because you have to please people in so many different ways. You have margins, you have employees, you have branding, you have there's a million different moving parts. So I've always said, I said this before, like anybody who can be successful in the restaurant business at scale, they can pretty much do anything. So if you understand the restaurant business, you understand business. So right now with Visby,
well, yeah,
from your perspective as a business guy, what do you see happening with Visby right now?
Yeah, couple things. Just for some people that don't know the story, first heard about it. Some really smart guys out there in the markets. And then I saw it on your show. I found it very tough to understand. And I was lucky enough between the groups to get an introduction. Guys that I follow, and there's probably 4 main guys that I follow day to day on the market, and what they're saying and what they're doing. And ask them, is this thing for real? And when you get a few of them to say, yeah, it's real, and then I reach out to you and I said, Jack, can you do me a favor? Like, the guy that was on your show, I think I was actually waiting to talk, and I was sitting in the waiting room and I was listening to that previous interview. And I was like, there's something there with that one, but man, it's tough to understand. And, so then I was lucky enough to, have a Zoom call with Jay and started talking to him about the business. And I was like, wait a second, like this guy's real. And, like he'd signed some LOIs and stuff like that, but, I mean, nothing was definitive. And Jay was, he's a pretty straight shooter. And, I think it's tough for him actually to come on interviews and not say stuff like, because he's proud of what he's doing and stuff like that. But first thing he said to me was like, hey, listen, I realize, what everybody's waiting for. Like he goes, I realize that, there's a lot of these small companies that are out there and they'll come out and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, or I'm going to be partners with these guys or whatever. He knew he needed to separate himself. He needed to actually deliver. Like he needed to deliver definitive agreements. So like actual contracts that state revenue have forecasts in them that are with Fortune 50 companies, Fortune 100 companies, Fortune 500 companies. Like very few microcaps could ever say that. Like if you check with a microcap and they have, money in the bank, which is rare, they have forecastable revenue with definitive agreements, and they have a moat as far as they need their business partners need them, and they're not just a supplier, they're not just a vendor to these guys. They don't just sell them the software. The most recent agreements with somebody like Visby, they were definitive agreements. They were actual partnership agreements with a Fortune 50 company. They invested alongside at the same price, same rate, on potentially one of the biggest companies that could actually be worth more than Visby is today. The Austin GIS company, that company alone is doing contracts that start off at $200 million. $200 million, for contract value.
And the partners, so so yes, the Austin GIS, that's just one part of their business, right? So actually, I think one of the challenges that investors have had, which I think you mentioned, is the Visby story originally was a little difficult for people to understand because there's a couple of components. They have the kind of it's all based on AI, right? But they have the marketing advertising part, and then they have the security component, and they all work together. And now they have.
That's the tie that binds. Like that's the hub, right? So the hub is Visby and the AI, and the best thing that Jay's ever done in his entire career that I know of is leveraging that AI. You know what I mean? Because very few AI companies have massive revenue today. Show me an AI company that has hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue. There's not many of them. But what he's done is he's leveraged his AI to open the door into the likes of Intel, into the likes of AB InBev, and he's shown them a way to monetize it, and monetize it in a way that not only is he getting paid for his software, but he actually gets to be a partner in the company. Like he's getting paid multiple times. So it's one thing if you say, "Well, I'm just paying you for my my software." That's okay. That's great. He has a great company. He'll be on a SaaS model. He's going to be worth a lot of money just on that. But the deal he did that he struck with, in my opinion, now he's done it twice. So it's not just he got lucky and he did the JV with Anheuser-Busch. That deal is worth a fortune.
Sean, hang on a second. Sean, I think we got. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm in a Wi-Fi. I'm in like a funny internet connection, and we're kind of going in and out. Let me log out, or if you want to log, because I'm not sure whose connection it is. But do you want to pop out? I can log back out and log right back in.
I can log out and log back in. You do the same.
Yeah. So I'm gonna. Okay, so I'm gonna log out. Then we'll come back in a second. So please, nobody go away. We'll be back in just a second.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just pop out. I'll be back in a second. Okay, waiting for Sean to come back. Intermission. Yeah, okay. So sorry about the internet. It's the Mercury retrograde thing happening. Okay, we have to ask Sean, because I think Sean had some insights on the WPP deal. Okay, stand by. Okay. Sean. Okay. Stand by just 1 second. We should have Sean back in a few seconds. So let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do some midday entertainment until he comes back in 30 seconds. We'll do a chart. Show the charts. Okay, we'll do this until Sean comes back in 30 seconds. Okay, so the VSB chart, we're talking about the charts right now. Looks amazing. We have a cup and handle kind of breakout here above $1.04 right now. The Macy D line looking good. The breakout was a large volume. Let's look at the 1 hour chart. Short term, we have another pennant formation. As you can see, these pennants usually turn into breakouts to the upside. And that is what we're waiting for right now. Literally any second right now. So we're just going to get Sean back on. Hang on a second. Sean, are you coming back?
Yeah.
Okay. Stand by. Okay, charts looking amazing. What else can we talk about? Yes. The coolers. Yeah. I highly recommend anybody watching, if you haven't seen it yet, we have the video up on YouTube, which is the demo where Jay shows the coolers with the brands. It's amazing stuff. So there's two videos. There's the one from last week, which showing the coolers. There's the one earlier, which was more of an overall demo, which also showed the security aspect. Technicals are more than strong. I actually haven't looked at the Fibonacci thing. I kind of I eyeball Fibonacci. I don't have a Fibonacci setup on here, but I'm sure it must look amazing. So again, we introduced. Okay, let me go back into VSB here. What am I looking at here? Yeah. So we started with VSB last. I think it was October. Right? I think it might have been last. It was. Oh, it's a 1 hour chart. That's the problem. Okay. So let me go back to the 1 day. Okay. Yeah, so we introduced VSB last October around 17 cents, 20 cents. Oh, sorry, wrong October. It was right here. It was actually, yeah, this is the spot. Okay. Too many charts. Okay, so it was right around almost a year ago. A little bit, almost literally, I think next week is the 1 year anniversary. And we had a nice run up into January, consolidation for the last 6 months. And this is the breakout. Where is Sean? I got to keep people entertained until Sean comes back. This is very difficult to compete with Sean Black here. So hopefully in the next 30 seconds. Okay. Meanwhile, if you look at this large consolidation, 6 month plus, actually 9 month, 10 month. It's really a 10-month consolidation. The longer consolidation phase happens, the bigger the breakout is to the upside. We just saw this last month with one of our former super stocks, which was PKK, Peak Fintech. It broke out from the $6 range, which would be post split, really $3 pre-split, $6 post-split. Hit a high of $14, so more than doubling. And it was really exactly the same type of chart set. If you look at the chart for PKK, you look at the VSB chart, the charts are exactly the same. So I think we're going to be breaking out to minimum $2 in the next couple of weeks. And from there, I think this has got a lot of legs. This is not a this is not like a one-trick pony. This is something which is I think we're going to see a $3-4 type stock, maybe even $5. This thing has got a lot of legs, and I am waiting for Sean. I should never have told him to log out. All right, let me see what's going on here. Calling Mr. Black. Meanwhile, if you're watching, make sure you press the like and subscribe button, even though the production values here are have a lot to be left to. Okay, should be coming back any second. All right. Yeah. So basically, the chart is the setup is 250 is the target. Probably next, I think 225 within the next 30 days. Beyond that, we could see. There we go. Okay. Here we go. We're back. We are back. All right. We are back. Sean.
Hey, Jack.
Okay. Sorry about that. I have to keep people entertained. It's very difficult to keep people, entertained while you're gone. So the big thing is we're talking about inflection point, right?
Yep.
You understand the fundamentals of running a business, scaling a business. Based on your experience, again, you've run, massive restaurant chains. So based on your experience, what do you see happening right now with Visby? What do you find compelling about what's going on right now with the contracts, the rollout, the deployment, all that stuff? And then we'll get into audience questions. We're gonna have a lot of questions.
The simple answer to that for me is what I find compelling about it is that Jay has figured out a way to leverage his tech, to not just sell his tech, but to open the door to Fortune 50, Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 100 companies, and become partners with them. Not just, like I said, investing alongside them and gaining equity in businesses that can accelerate beyond anything he'll ever do on his own.
Hang on. Sure, I'm getting some sort of notification noise. I think from your computer. Is that some sort of notification stuff? Is that on your?
It'll stop in a second.
Okay. Right. There's like a buzzing. There's like a buzzing sound. Yeah. Okay.
Tell me if it's gone.
No, it's. You're a popular guy. What do we got? What's going on there?
We'll be on this.
Can you get the good computer?
No, when you log me back out, I need someone else here to log me into that one. So when you switched it, you logged me out.
Should I? Okay, you want to log out? Come back?
No, I'm good. All right.
You good? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Yes, we definitely need an IT professional. Okay. So bottom line is, so right now with Visby, they're starting to scale. They got a bunch. How many locations do they have right now in Mexico?
Well, I think if you listen to his interview the other day, just in Mexico, they're installing about 100 to 150 a week.
Okay. Are you buying Visby as we speak? That's what some people are saying.
No, I'm not. I own a ton of Visby. Jack, and to be honest, he keeps doing deals and keeps announcing more stuff. I'll keep buying more. Every time he executes,
okay,
I buy more stock.
Okay. So essentially, so they got. So essentially, so Visby, they're starting to scale up in Mexico, right? They're in 4 countries now, right?
4. And the 5th one is obviously, as he mentioned the other day, he's fairly confident he's going to land a 5th one. And I believe the 5th one is the ultimate game changer in the company. You know what I mean? Like, as far as...
Okay.
It's a different level of...
What do you think it is? So we got... Okay, so which country could it be in Latin America? Is it we're talking about Brazil? Who else is there? Yeah.
First, he never said he was going to Latin America. But if you're in my style in business, instead of going a mile wide and inch deep, I'd rather go an inch wide and a mile deep. And he's got the infrastructure. He's already rolling it out in South America and Latin America. And the biggest market down there, the biggest media market of them all is Brazil. You got 210, 220 million people in Brazil. If you look at it, it's 2/3 the market of the United States already. His partner, their original founding company, Ambev, is based out of Sao Paulo, right, in Brazil. So I think it's a no-brainer that that's where he's going. But you got to think, like, the deal he has, like, you're talking to market, his total addressable market that he's done already in the first 4 countries was about 250 million people. That brought in about 250 million a year potentially with that deal with AB InBev. He's potentially going to add another 220 million people to that original contract. But that's part of it, Jack. What I'm not looking for is actually the population number. I'm looking for validation that AB InBev is going to expand the contract. Because would they expand the contract in a material way if it wasn't going well? No, not a chance. They'd be winding down the contract. They're about to, in my opinion, expand into them and almost double the contract size. That would be unbelievable. You could be talking 300, 400, 500 million.
So to you, basically, that's validation. So essentially, that to you see that as validation that they're getting serious mileage out of this advertising technology.
That's right.
They're able to move a lot of product as a result of this.
That's right. I was originally looking for them to come out and say, hey, we've installed 4,000 or 5,000 units. Because I didn't expect Jay to give a number probably till year end. I think he's doing it to satisfy the partners on the ground that are trying to leverage it as their own story for competitive reasons. But I did look at it and say, okay, well, so if they meet that install number, that's incredible, because then it sets up next year to be at 15,000. So his model's working. But all of a sudden, if you're going to tell me that this early in the game they're going to expand into another market, that's incredible. Like, I was already blown away. I always said I believe the stock was
Sean, hang on a second. I'm getting a bad. So the internet, I'm having like this problem with the internet here. I don't know what's going on here. Can you hear me okay? Am I breaking up on your end?
Nope, not at all. Just your end. Even the other day when you were doing one of your other interviews, your internet was terrible and other people was great. Did you pay the bill, Jack?
Okay. Hang on a second. Okay, Sean, I'm gonna. You don't go away. You stay there. I'm gonna log out. You stay there. Entertain people for about 30 seconds. Let me come back. Let me log out and come back.
If anybody's good at IT, Jack needs help. So please send your resumes accordingly. Twitter, email.
Okay, I'm back. Sean.
All right. Sorry, I was just hoping you get some inbound emails for IT support.
Okay, all right, hang on. What is going on here today? All right, I'm blaming it on the Mercury retrograde phenomenon, the planet stuff. Sean, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you, Jack.
Jeez, what's going on? Okay. Okay, so bottom line is that they're expanding. They're probably going to go into, you think, Brazil?
I do, yeah. I think that's a natural market.
Okay,
it's home
okay.
And
okay, hang on. Okay, I'm just trying to.
So I think that's a huge one for them, Jack.
This is internet stuff here. Okay, so okay, Sean, you know what? Hang on. Okay, I gotta go into a different room. Can you okay, I'm gonna be back in 5 minutes. Okay, I'm just gonna go into a different room. So you stay there. You entertain the audience. I'll see you in 5 minutes. Okay.
All right, Jack. I wish I could sing or play guitar. I was just checking the ticker to see what it's at, actually. I can't believe it's at $1.02. So funny. Now, if I could take inbound questions, I'd answer them. Now that Jack's gone, I could answer questions on anything. Men are like that. The messages popping up are pretty funny. Yes, I agree. To Ryan's point here, Ryan said, Jack needs to get better at IT or we're going to start something up. I agree. Sounds like a good idea. Jack, you need to clean this up. Your IT game. Even Geek Squad or something. Maybe I don't know if they have Geek Squad in Florida, but Jack needs to figure it out. And Jason, yes. Jason earlier was, yeah, he's the nice provider of my t-shirt. When I was in Brockville last week, had some very good beer. Actually recommend it. Yeah, I would tell you if your beer sucked, his beer is actually good.
Okay, Sean, I'm back. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, Jack.
Okay. Geez, I apologize about that. We have very high production values here at the Wall Street Reporter, and we want to only give people the very best. So, okay.
Can you hear me?
No, it's perfect now. Okay, a lot of crazy stuff going on. Okay.
All right. So, Jack, just to stop for 1 second, just let me finish that last piece I was going to say. Is yes, the key here is, I hear this from guys all the time. Oh, I got the best this, the best that, or A.K.A. does this, or A.K.A. does that. And honestly, I always say to them, just cut the shit. You know what I mean? Can you monetize it? Do you have revenue, and is somebody willing to pay you for it? And so many guys have stuff that's the best in the world, but they can't sell it, or nobody pays them for it. So nobody's willing to pay you for it. Why the hell would I pay you? And that's Jay's figured it out. And not only figured out how to get someone to pay it and show value in his technology, he became their partners. Like, show me another microcap that's an actual partner, not just a supplier, not just a vendor, not just whatever, a customer of theirs, but a physical business partner of Intel, of Anheuser-Busch, anybody like that. Show me another microcap that has that. It's ridiculous. So the contracts that are coming, first of all, you checked another box for me in validation when they were definitive. And then he had cash in the bank. I was like, you know what? I don't need to do more due diligence at that point. You know what I mean? Because you don't think Anheuser-Busch or Johnson Controls or, Tech Mahindra or any of these guys have looked at his technology? You don't think Intel would, you think they would attach their name to him? And I keep going back to this. I knew early on that there was something up because, other companies can't get semiconductor chips anywhere. But yet Jay's meeting his deadlines and deploying at an incredible rate. Where's he getting those chips? I was like, that's unbelievable. So I wasn't surprised at all to see the recent news announcement that they became partners. That makes a ton of sense. It explained how he was getting the semiconductor chips, and I mentioned that on a previous live stream with you. That's there. So I think other news is imminent based on his things he said the other day. I think he's going to deliver 2 or 3 catalyst news drops this month that are just going to further validate the company and blow this thing out of the water. Because every time he adds a new deal, he adds another market like Brazil, he does anything, the forecastable revenue goes through the roof. Like the billings to bookings that he used the last time on his interview of 14-1, I asked guys in the business, and they're like, Sean, that's incredible. That's an unbelievable number. So yeah, so do I like it? Yeah, I like it. I mean, I've dug deep. I own a ton of it. I'm an active buyer of the stock, so I'm not like saying it because I bought it early and I want to pump it and you guys go buy it from me. No, I'm buying right alongside the guys. People can ask my broker. I buy it on a daily basis. She thinks I'm probably crazy a little bit. Sarah probably is like something wrong with him, but when I really believe in something, I go hard at it.
So Sean, so I think a key takeaway is that in terms of your perspective with these microcap stocks or any of these hot themes, is you're looking for something where it's not just a concept; it's got to have market acceptance, meaning cash changing hands, like real money, not like these contracts where, hey, we got a joint venture partnership, we're doing like a stock swap thing or something. It's none of that like monkey business stuff you see in the Canadian market. Real
Jack,
cash, a couple $1 million going from one account to the other,
and revenue growing and reoccurring revenue. It's like I had this conversation with people all the time. I look at it, we call it proof of concept. You want to find a restaurant concept that works. One guy's got one restaurant that's really busy. You know what? Go open 5 of them and tell me if it still works. Because so many guys fall on their face after restaurant 2 or 3 or 4. The fact that he landed not just one partner, for like a Fortune 100 company or Fortune 200 company, but the fact that he went and got multiple of them. Like he's got, north of 5 partners, like 5, 6, 7 partners that are north of $1 billion companies, $7 billion companies. These partners.
And you have the Sensormatic guy just joined the board of directors. So Sensormatic is a huge, because that's the
security side. The security side and the Sensormatic side gets no recognition today. I don't think people have a clue when they look at a market like Brazil or South America how important security is in some of these areas. I think it's of great importance. And I think the next deals that he's going to come out with are probably Johnson Controls, like Sensormatic, something on the security side. I think those are going to be massive and add more credibility and exposure to Jay. So, like I said earlier, he's the hub. His business model is the hub. Everybody else connects to it. So, he's selling security, he's selling into beverages, but at the end of the day, he's improving all of their business models.
The core is the AI. I mean, basically, his core that's
the middle.
That's his core, right?
That's right.
And he's able to monetize. He's able to monetize AI, which is what makes this an exciting story.
And what makes it sticky is that he's partners with them. Because it's one thing to say I'm just their supplier, right? You can get bumped out as a supplier anytime. But if they're your business partner, you're not getting bumped out anytime. You know what I mean? Like he's ingrained in their business with them and equally motivated. So I think it's, when you look at de-risking, this one's de-risked. Like I said it to you before, I'll say it again. Like I think that one ABI deal is worth $5 a share on its own. If that grows to 200 to 250 million a year, and remember his model is so like light that the margins on SaaS models are off the charts. They can be 50 to 80% profit on every dollar that comes in.
So just to clarify, and I think somebody asked me about like WPP. So the real money that they're making is going to be from the advertising, right? The advertising that's in the cooler.
That's the cash cow. It's not just the AI. It's that the AI is opening the doors for them into infrastructure as a service. With that door, it opened the door with Anheuser-Busch participate, like revenue. This is newfound revenue for these stores. Like I know it from a restaurant perspective. If I was able to monetize and learn more about my customers and secure the properties, I'd be all over that type of a situation. Like I don't have that real-time data out of our restaurants. If we could have that, it would be incredible. So the fact that he figured it out and brought it all together and then monetized it, that is the golden ticket. That's where he landed. He nailed his ticket right there. Like as soon as he figured that out and got away for Anheuser-Busch to see it and say, yeah, I'm willing to pay for it. You got to remember, Jack, one of the things the other day, one of the Intel guys and Jay did an interview. And on that interview.
This is with Intel, not with us, with Intel.
Exactly, Intel.
It's an Intel.
One of the Intel executives came out and said it was like 20 to 30%, 20, 25, 30%. They were seeing immediate gains in those stores with the product deployed. You can imagine most of those guys are like probably doing cartwheels if they get a single digit lift in business. They were seeing 20 to 30% increases. Like that's unbelievable. So like no wonder they're rolling it out fast. You know what I mean? If they're seeing, the hardest thing to connect is whatever advertisement I did it end up in the cash register, right? Like, did I monetize it? And Jay's able to directly link that ad that's happening at that moment, buying that product, upselling them, and ending up in the cash register immediately. So
we see this basically, this is exactly what Google did. This is what made Google successful.
yes,
Which what made Amazon ads. We talk Amazon advertising is I think they're doing 10 billion plus in revenues, and those are the ads that you see whenever you're inside of Amazon and you're in the shopping cart, you're about to buy something, they pop up an ad saying, whatever people, which is related to the thing, and this is the thing.
Exactly. When did
Google for the physical world?
Twitter stock. Look at Facebook. All those guys. They all kept pushing back on them early on and saying, "How are you going to monetize this? That's great. You've got all these people, but how do you monetize? Like, how are you going to make money?" As soon as they figured out how to make money off ad revenue, freaking Facebook stock went crazy. You know what I mean? Twitter went. Like, all of a sudden you can monetize that. Like, you telling me you charge people to advertise in there? And remember, like, you're talking. See, there's 1,000 items in a convenience store and 60,000 items or 100,000 items in a grocery store. They're all fighting with these little short little arms saying, like, look at me, come buy me. But they need to advertise. And these guys have a captive audience. It's like Jerry Jones selling advertising inside Cowboy Stadium. It's worth a fortune. So these guys have figured out how to monetize inside the four walls. I think it's unbelievable. That's why I scream about it, because, like, this is just.
It's very important. Is that there actually is a really very super focus. I think in the last interview, Jay talks about. So it's not just like it's not any type of store. It's just very specific. It's what do they talk about? Pharmacies, DIY, convenience.
Do it yourself. Yeah.
And what's the other one?
Convenience. Do it yourself. Which is Home Depot, Lowe's, that kind of stuff.
Convenience.
But I think the pharmacy side is actually going to be insane. He talked about they won an award doing a program with CVS, and he said, like, you can upgrade somebody from, advertise them. Somebody goes by and they got a cold and they're running a temperature. You're going to be able to sell them something that's worth $30 or $100. What's that worth, right? When they're trying to decide between 5 different items on a shelf, do you want like. Those
right. In other words, which aspirin to buy. If you go to a store, there's like 20 different aspirins.
That's right.
Selling.
That's right.
Whatever, or cold medicines. And there's big margins in the cold medicine.
Early on, I reached out to 2 guys in the space and said, like, what do you think of this? And he goes, wow. And he was, previously running, $1 billion businesses, and said, first of all, he goes, normally it takes us 3 to 6 months to get that data back. He goes, so if you're telling me I can have it in 15 minutes, what sells, what doesn't sell, what type of emotions the customer was having, which type of customers are buying it, and I can
day of the week, hour, temperature outside.
I can pivot what I'm marketing, and I can advertise something else, and quickly. I don't have to be 6 months ahead in my spend, and not know that the ad didn't work, and I just spent $5 million on running that ad. He goes, so that's gold. You know what I mean? So that's when I got really interested in the stock. Found out Jay was real, and he was the first one. He said, I get it. People want to see definitive agreements. As soon as he signs the definitive agreements, that's when I was like, literally, like, I was buying stock like crazy, because I knew then that was the inflection point. Those things have revenue attached to them. You don't become partners with Anheuser-Busch or Intel or any of these guys without having something real.
Sean, have you talked about while I was away? Did you mention WPP? Have you talked about WPP?
No, and you know what? My thoughts on WPP are, it brings
first of all, tell everybody who WPP is in case they don't know.
WPP, from my understanding, they're the largest marketing company in the world.
Advertising, they're the biggest.
Advertising. And they're into AI, they're into everything, like all those pieces, but they're the largest advertising company in the world. So what do they have in their back pocket? Advertisers. What do they have? They know where the disposable money is, where these people are looking to deploy.
Sean, one thing I want to add. WPP started. This is, the company started, like, the DNA of the company was in I believe it was the early 80s, from in-store marketing. Martin Sorrell was the founder. It was basically based on, he bought like some sort of in-store, like, basket, something, ads on shopping cart. So they understand that's in their DNA. So this is like the digital transformation of WPP's
Yeah, and what I think the connection here is not only do they have like Jay's mentioned it the other day on his interview, and said yes, we work with them now. We're dealing with them at the highest level, and we expect to formalize that agreement. I think they're going to be the face of the like. I don't think you're going to see visibility themselves handling all the advertising and stuff going forward for the JV. So what I think they're going to do is use WPP as the sales, marketing arm on the front of the house, have them handle it. Then you have Intel, you have the, Anheuser-Busch, all of them supporting it from behind the scenes, and those guys do the sales. That's what I think it's going to be, and you're going to have a large.
It's very clever. What if you look at what Visby has done, everything is all outsourced. It's asset light.
That's
it's
right.
all partners. In other words, all their stuff is sold through partners. I think Informatics sells into one thing. You got another part. So it's all they're doing. Their focus is the AI, the technology, the algorithms, the data, the big data, all that
and
stuff.
How to and the number one thing Jay did was how to monetize that. So, and get the best of the best. Like, you're going out with Anheuser-Busch, you're going out with Intel. You know what I mean? Like, you can argue about who's, better with them or, a couple of their partners, but, you're dealing with elite partners. And all of a sudden, you're going to have WPP handling the advertising, which they got, their fingers in. And he said it, they're incredibly influential. So, and the key here is, when I looked it up, in Latin America, like South America, Latin America, all these markets that they're talking about with Anheuser-Busch, including Brazil, who handles Anheuser-Busch and Intel's work? WPP. They're the agency of record for Anheuser-Busch in all those markets. They're the agency of record for Intel. So as soon as I dug that up, I was like, oh my God, these guys nailed it. And that's unbelievable. So of course Jay is going to leverage, Anheuser-Busch is going to bring their partners to the table and say, hey, we need advertising in this market. Let's bring the best advertiser, company in the world here. And really, do you think, Jay, if it was, Jay was on his own and he wasn't partners with those guys, and he called up WPP and said, I need, I'd like you guys to rep our advertising, they'd laugh at him. Then you go out and you say, do you think if they needed semiconductor chips and Intel wasn't his partner, would they do it? No. These guys are all leaning in and helping Visby, in my opinion, paint the path to how they're going to be beyond very shortly beyond a micro cap. I don't think they're going to be a small cap soon. I think they'll be beyond a small cap soon enough.
Interesting question from Skippy. Do you consider Visby a long-term company? In other words, do you see this as a long-term 10-year deal, or do you think they're going to be bought out within a couple of years? Is this going to be like a Google, or is it going to be like a WhatsApp that was bought by Facebook?
That ad revenue is going to be so valuable, Jay. If they build that thing to say they get it up to $500 million a year in ad revenue on that JV alone, off of one JV, like, the company's worth an absolute fortune. So it would take a monster to buy them. So I think, can it happen? Absolutely. Private equity could buy them. Somebody else could buy them. But
I think it would have to be.
Anheuser-Busch has the rights to own 9% of the company. So, like, the warrants alone bring in $13 million at 84 cents to the company. So they're going to have a very big say in, does somebody ever buy them? So if my guess is if somebody buys them in the next 2-3 years, it'll be for a ridiculous amount of money, and because they're going to have to buy them forward with guaranteed contracts in hand. Somebody can extrapolate the value of those over the next 5 years. And then on top of they're going to have to buy them, like, you have to compete with all the guys in the network. You know what I mean? Because they're not just going to let it go. Like, do you really think Intel or AB InBev is just going to say, yeah, fine, go ahead, someone else own this? No. It's going to be so critical to what they're doing that I don't think
it has to be. I think it would be like a strategic buyer, because again, I think we're talking is like somebody like a Google. And I know people talk about, oh yeah, Google is going to buy this company, that. The reality is, the one thing that Google has never been able to do successfully is get into the physical world. They really haven't. I mean, they do that smart city. They really and this for them, this is the last frontier for them to basically get into the advertising, direct market, all the data stuff in the physical world. And the thing is, literally every minute, Visby is just getting more and more ahead of where anybody else is. So the moat is growing. So whether it's an Amazon or I don't know about a Facebook, but like an Amazon or a Google, for those guys, they could write a check for, you know, literally a couple $1 billion would be not a problem.
If really quickly Jay becomes the largest, you know, store as a medium in, you know, in Latin America and South America, next thing you know, he's in the United States, like that's worth an incredible amount of money. So Jack, you know, I believe, you know, on this show, you know, I've said this before, like you have a platform, you give everybody the opportunity to come in and make their pitch. You know, tons of people go on Dragon's Den or Shark Tank, and half those companies suck. You know what I mean? Like you should never been there in the first place. It's up to the dragons and the sharks to figure it out, right?
Well, this is it. You all are the dragons and the sharks. This is it. We give you the companies. You decide with your money.
Myself, and you know, I got a really good team. I got some good business partners that are real sharp, and we all, you know, lean in on stuff and do due diligence. And sometimes we decide, one of us decides to do it. Sometimes it's two of us or three of us. But we, you know, you over time you develop a network, and then you start to weed through the crap. And there's a lot of crap. And there's honestly, you've had some of them on your show that are like, I couldn't invest in them, right? But
don't mention any names, Sean. Don't mention any names of those companies.
some of them though have done real well despite them not having it.
Right, that's the irony. This is the thing.
This is a real one, Jack. So when you talk about some of your things, well, could it be a $5 or a $10 or a 5-bagger or a 10-bagger? This is one of the ones where I say, I don't know how it couldn't be.
So what's the number? We have people asking, where do you, I mean, let's not even say 5 years. Forget about 5 years. Let's just say 6 months. I don't even want to look beyond 6 months. Let's just say 6 months, 12 months.
In my opinion, if this is under $5 in 6 months, I'm going to scream that it's undervalued. And because I'm saying it today, I'm going to keep pounding that table that as they monetize and they show I was really waiting for Jay to deliver Q4 and show that he got to 4,000 or 5,000 installs. The fact that he came out the other day and said he's installing 100 to 150 a week just in Mexico, and there's a potential that he adds another market like Brazil, that's insane. If he adds in WPP as his marketing partner, he's a partner in Austin GIS, which could on itself, that company, the value of that company could be worth more than visibility today. So, like, I think it's so, because it's hard to understand, because it's a micro cap, people just don't believe it yet. If this thing was brand new company doing a rollout, partners with Microsoft, partners with Anheuser-Busch, and they went out on the NASDAQ clean today, I think they'd get $1 billion valuation out of the gates. They'd start off at minimum $5-10. You know, I mean, with the backing of those A-list partners. So the fact that it's here, the fact that it was able to be discovered on your show, a lot of people are like, it's a gift that we found this one early.
So basically, your target next 6 months is $5.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I mean, I think this is
June next year. Like if he executes Q4, Q1, Q2, and it's less than $5 next June, I'll be like dumbfounded. Like, you know, thinking like.
I would say minimum. I think probably 350 by March, and then it would have that. It could go parabolic into the $5.
The investors change, right? It'll turn over some of the investors along the way, because as soon as it goes over $3, you know, it'll be margined. It could be in lots of institutional hands, that kind of stuff. I think that's going to happen. He's going to get some analyst coverage on it for sure. That'll de-risk it for some of the bigger check guys. Along the way, it'll change the float sometimes, Jack. So it'll probably have some some stairs in that play. But I just think as long as he executes the business model, $5 by June will be a steal. If he does one more deal and announces anything layered on to what he already has today, other than just the deal with AB InBev, it's a gift. So
because the run rate right now is like what? It's like a 20 million run rate right now.
That's right.
And he's going to get to by March. He could get to 100 million run rate.
Well, you know, I don't know what his market run rate by March, but it's layered on contracts. Like you're telling me, if he does
50 million run rate with contracts,
billings, for sure. Okay. And that's only, remember, his agreements are pretty unbelievable. Like he actually shared it. Like, here's year one of the contract. Here's year two. Here's year three. Like by 2014, you're talking 55,000 installs off of one agreement. That's, you know, and if, you know, you have the partners of WPP and you have this other stuff coming, and as long as he keeps executing and delivering, I think it'll be one of the best tickers you've ever found on your show, because the company's real. It's not.
We want to join this. we wanted to be next on this pantheon of 10 baggers plus. We got I think this is
Well, if you look
probably
at guys like All Streets and stuff like that, they're out there. Some of the guys, Big Rig was on it. Some of them that are big on social media, they've been calling this thing since 30 cents. And I didn't catch it till 50, 60. I did see it early on at 12, 17 cents. I missed it at the IPO, but I didn't have any knowledge of the company.
So you're saying you weren't watching the Wall Street Reporter last October when we introduced this at 17 cents, 15? I think it was 15 or 20. What in that range? Let's just say 17 cents.
I wish I was watching it. I wish I was watching it and listened to some of those CEOs and had the BS meter on and seeing which ones were real or not. And I would have dug in more, because I do filter through some of the other ones, Jack, that are on your show. And if I find a good one, I would do the same thing. So you've had a few that I certainly got in to support. Visibility, in my opinion, it's just like I said, these prices, it's a gift.
So bottom line, visibility is looking good. Let's talk about Tetra, TBP. We have not talked about Tetra in a while. And the thing that Sean, what you provide a very valuable service for investors, because you're able to explain their science in plain English.
So one thing that's important, Jack, I want to say is all these guys that I talked about, for all different reasons, I invest in them. But one of them, number one, is none of them pay me, right? Like I don't do promo. I speak.
You're a legitimate investor, basically. You're basically
money. I don't take promotion dollars from any of these guys. So, have I been offered them? Yeah. I don't take it.
Sure, if you did, I'd be out of business.
My T-shirt. That's as close as I can. So I don't. And so Tetra, Tetra's news yesterday was excellent. In my opinion,
what's going on with the? So they're going to have the bottom line revenues.
It shows you that they've got a distribution partner. They've got all the pieces lined up for their first ever DIN number in Canada. When they get that, they've moved from a spec company to an in revenue company, which is where I get personally really excited. Like, beside helping people and stuff like that, if you're just looking at the fundamentals of the business, they'll be in revenue as soon as they get that DIN number. So what he demonstrated yesterday when he came out and said that, it was like, okay, now we're ready. So, yes, we're moving forward with our other trials. Yes, we're taking on opioids and morphine and fentanyl. Those things are obviously moving forward. They accelerated those trials. But he said now they're at the final stage and they've got all their ducks in a row to go into revenue as soon as that happens. Q4, could it be Q1? Sure. I was always anticipating Q4 for his first DIN number, and I just believe it's kind of a tipping point for Tetra, and I'll be pretty excited when he delivers that here over the next.
For the non-Canadians, can you explain what is a DIN number?
Oh, in Canada, a drug identification number is what allows the doctors to prescribe it and for it to be paid for by your health plans. So it's not just something where you got to pay for it out of your own pocket.
So basically, they're going to be commercialized. So essentially, they're going to start generating.
That's like it's getting a drug approval. You know what I mean?
Okay, and they have, and also they have, what do you call it? They're going to have they could have off-label prescriptions and all that other good stuff.
For pain, right? It's for cancer pain, but it's for nausea, and obviously they'll get off-license pieces on it significantly. So I believe that'll be huge.
People are asking the stock has been kind of quiet for a while. It's been
But biostocks are like that. Everyone wonders. It's not like you look at J's; they're in revenue and you can track it over quarter and forecast revenue. Like it's a biostock. Like it's going to sit there quiet. You won't hear a word about it, and all of a sudden they come out with sun and the stock goes through the friggin' roof. I've said that 5 times on your show. It's just one of those ones you wake up and it's gone, right? And that's what's going to happen with Tetra as he gets these approvals and he moves it. But again, you got to look for these pharma companies to continue to de-risk, right, and validate their science. So now he's got multiple drugs that have moved through phase 1, going in phase 2. He's de-risked it for investors. Every one of these milestones is achieving, he's de-risking. And, so he'll be a payday for somebody along the way. Not every shareholder has patience for it. Some of them are gone. Some just move on. But I believe what he's doing is for real. It's been a huge passion project for me. Invested a ton of money. Don't really care if anybody buys the stock or not. Don't care. I want him to get the drug approval because even if they don't buy the stock, he knows the value of each one of those drugs. So he's a value creation metric that he goes through. And as soon as they're approved, they'll be sold for what they're worth. Nothing to do with what stock's trading at. I mean, it'll be the highest bidder that'll pay for that drug. So that's why you wake up and the stock goes through the roof, because the average retail investor had no clue that that drug was worth 100 million, 200 million, a billion, 5 billion, but it'll be sold for that. You know what I mean? So when the payday comes, I strongly believe I'll be sitting here as a shareholder, and I'll be happy.
I guess probably one of the questions people ask, okay, if this thing is so good, right? The biotech, usually biotech investors are pretty savvy, right? So like, okay, so this thing is so good, why is it trading? Why is it trading? What's that?
They're not savvy in Canada. Biotech investors, they have no clue.
Well, I think that's the opportunity. That's the arbitrage opportunity, because Tetra really, it's really a Canadian. It's not even a Canadian company. It's really like a Quebec company, which is like even more foreign. It's like more exotic. It's like it might as well be, I don't know, in
it's another strike against it.
Papua New Guinea or something. It's like it's not even Canada.
It's Quebec. True. If that company was out of Boston, was out of San Diego, was in a major farmer market, that stock could be worth a fortune.
It would be trading 5 times what it is now.
No, probably 20 times.
Do you think maybe that what they should do is just get an address in La Jolla, California?
Yeah, I think if I was, they get no support anyways from the Canadian government. So if it was my opinion, I would be changing my address, and I'd be moving the company and my assets to the United States, and I'd become a very real story very quickly. I would absolutely realize when I don't get support, even like they're working on a drug jacket. It makes me laugh, like to potentially help with COVID and sepsis, and they get no support from the Canadian government. I would be like, kiss my cheek, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? Like, I can save lives, and you don't want this, you don't want to help me, then see you later. You know what I mean? Like, that part drives me crazy, but I mean, like, I still think it'll be a winner when the time comes. He's got to prove it. You got to keep de-risking, validate the science, and move forward. And Guy's not great at a lot of things, but one of those is not regulatory and science. So regulatory and science, he's excellent at. So I don't doubt him in those 2 departments, and I believe he will monetize the science for the shareholders at some point in the near future.
So what do you see happening for TBP in the next?
The DIN number should be the biggest material piece in the next 90 days.
That's the thing to watch. Okay.
If he gets the DIN number, the stock should be 50 cents to $1 overnight. Like, it'd be ridiculous. Like, that'd be the cheapest in revenue pharma company in Canada, like that. So that'd be the first step, and then that'll help fund other programs and stuff like that. So it'll be less dilution and all those things. So that's why I like it. I think it'll be big. So that's my number one passion project that you work with. My number one investment that I have that you work with is Skylight. I believe it's the number one manipulated stock that you own.
I'm very frustrated with that stock recently. Somebody's asking someone, what's going on with Skylight? I mean, this thing is full off the radar. Like, what is going on?
You know what? How many times I've watched lately the video with Jeff Bezos when he says, the stock is not the company. And in reality, that is when Jeff Bezos said he watched the stock go from $113 down to $6. I feel like I've just done that with Skylight. I met with Pratt a couple of weeks ago. I asked him about the numbers. I looked at it. I reviewed his most recent quarter. He delivered over 100% growth. Unbelievable. How the actual business is operating, but the stock price has been, in my opinion, so manipulated. I'm told there's a banker out of the United States that shorted the crap out of him, and this is his welcome to the NASDAQ. They taught him a lesson. I think now they have it down to a price that they like. I think that's where it's been getting accumulated, some short covering. I think in the next 2 to 4 weeks, they will start to cover that short. I think Pratt will, get what he, get what he needs. They'll do the next steps, the next news. He'll create a floor, do something that's a seismic shift, something that'll shake the earth a little bit. And then the stock goes the other way, and it'll probably along the way rip a few faces off because the guys will be short covering and it'll go up as fast as it did the first time. When it was on your show, it went from like 30 cents to $1 and then $1 to $1.90, Jack, in probably 6, 7, 8 months. And I think we'll see it go from.
Well, I think the problem, there's no eyeballs on the stock now. Is like, I mean, again, I'm biased a little bit.
During the summertime,
need promotion, and the thing is, the Pratt got investors hooked on the constant. It was constantly in front of in their face.
People got left between here and here. They got lost in the journey between
Right.
being a consolidator, which is what he was doing at the start, to then moving into value-based care. And when he went quiet and didn't do promo and do things like that with guys like yourself, retail got bored. ADD kicks in. They move into something else. It was summertime in Canada. It's the 2 months of the year. It's really nice. You go do something else. And you ignore Prad's stock, you know what I mean? And then when Prad doesn't do promo and he doesn't rub bellies and, and he's not out there, shaking hands and being a good politician, people got pissed and some sold it. And I believe that's where some of the guys preyed on it and shorted it and rattled retail's conviction in the stock and sold it all the way down from the equivalent of $9 down to $2.51. I saw, I think this morning or something. So, and I'm telling you, Jack, on the way down, I've bought it I bought it at the sale prices all the way down.
Sure, you're gonna have to start a new restaurant chain and sell it, because with all this money you're spending buying that stock, I mean, you might run out.
I own a lot of that stock. I don't really care what anybody says about it. Honestly, Jack, kiss my ass. I really don't care. I'm going to buy that stock. I'll be here when Prad drives it right back up to the original $9-10 that it was at, and I'll sit back and I'll have a beer from 1,000 Ounce Brewery. And, and I'll laugh my ass off, because you know what? I had the conviction to hold it. I believe in it. Nothing changed with the business. Nothing's changed. He's growing his business. He also delivered organic. So when I look for a business, I look for inorganic and organic growth, and can they deliver it? He delivered M&A. He grew top line over 100%, and he grew his business organically. Please tell me another company that's doing that and his valuations are, a fraction of what it should be. He's trading at about 2 times revenue now. It's laughable, but that's the opportunity though. So some people get really pissed at it, and I get that. Guys call me and they're pissed, right? They're mad at Prad, as if it's all Prad's fault. He sold all his stock. No, he's actually been buying. But I don't actually get mad when visibility was down at 50 cents. Did I get mad? Hell no. I bought it like crazy. You know what I mean? So Prad's down. You know what? I was, buying it. I've been buying it like crazy on Skylight, and I'll be the first guy back there when it's on the way up. I'll still buy on the way back up again, but it's not about that. Nothing's changed for me with the company. It's something fundamentally changed.
This guy, he says, don't compare Skylight to Amazon. Essentially,
I'm not comparing it to Amazon. I'm saying the fundamentals of the business haven't changed, and that's what Jeff Bezos was saying. He said he went into the office every day, looked at the numbers. How's the business operating? Well, then why did my stock go from $130?
Yeah. I mean, that's we've seen that happen. There's a disconnect between the stock and the actual business.
But in fairness, did Prad, take his foot off the gas from, doing promo and being out in front of everybody and stuff like that? Yes, he did. Did I think some guys preyed on that and investor confidence and beat it the crap down to here? Yes. I think there's a guy in New York that's going to make himself a fortune when he covers his short, that he's been shorting it all the way down and walks it all the way back up. Some guy's going to make himself $10, $20, $30 million when he's done easily. And I keep hearing about this independent brokerage, got their own license, their own house office, and they're the ones shorting it out of the U.S. Doesn't surprise me. Low volume, new to the NASDAQ, didn't have the institutional support because he didn't kiss the ring when they first came into the market. That's what I think happened. This is my personal opinion, but you know what? I'm going to stick to it. I don't care what anybody says.
I think what happens is I've noticed the Canadian companies are when they go on NASDAQ, all investors think, oh wow, once they go on NASDAQ, everybody's going to come out of the woodwork buying it. But the reality is, then all of a sudden, when you're on NASDAQ, you have more potential buyers, but you got to go through the same song and dance. You got to spread the word that you're out there, that the stock, because now all of a sudden, much bigger pond. You got bigger fish, bigger pond. It's not like this.
But also, there's that many bigger guys that are going to be, preying on you, right? So,
yeah, of course.
In my opinion, that's what happened. They schooled Prad on it. I think he's going to keep operating the business. That's the one thing that he can do, and he's really good at. And I think he'll keep growing the business and doing right by shareholders. So, anybody that gets mad at him has something to say. Honestly, kiss my ass. I don't care.
What about the chairman is still involved? He's got that former chairman, that guy.
Yeah, that guy took companies from $2 billion to $2-3 billion in revenue, over $100 billion in revenue. Patrick McNamee, sold his company. I think it was Signa that bought them, and then High IQ. He turned that around from $2 to over $50 on the New York Stock Exchange. Like, this guy knows what he's doing. He's heavily involved. I believe he's out of Sarasota, close to you, Jack, actually, Florida. And he's actively involved in the business. They got another lady that was one of the top ladies at JP Morgan. That's heavily involved in their business. She's on the board. They lean in every day. Like, nothing's changed the business. So if something fundamentally changed, don't get me wrong, I'd be lining up with some of the guys and be pissed at Brad. But I can't get that upset at him if he's operating the business well, because I see the opportunity. So I'm being the opportunist. These other dum-dums want to sell it and walk away because they think like, oh, Prad's abandoned us. Something's terrible.
Sean, very important question. Are you from Oakville?
Our head office was in Oakville. I live in Mississauga.
Okay, I don't know why this guy. Everybody wants to know where you live. I don't know if they want to come visit you or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So Jack, I'm the opportunist though. I'm the buyer of the stock. So on days when it's been down, I buy more.
Okay, so bottom line is Visby. So to recap, Visby, we have a target $5 roughly. I'll just say 3 to 4. Oh, you have $5.
My own personal number that I'll sit here. Like, I'm gonna anchor in like the guy that won't ever last guy to leave the party. Like, I'm not leaving. I'll be the first guy there and last guy to leave because I'm waiting for $5. And Jay, if you're listening, you better deliver $5.
I think $5. I think $5 is within reason, because I think the stock at some point is going to go like parabolic, and it might pass you might be going to like that $3 range, and it'll just go parabolic to $5.
I think it goes quick to $3 if they execute and things move forward. It takes a lot longer to get to $5 from $3.
Yeah, but
I don't care. Good thing is I'm patient as heck, and I'll wait. And when I bite down, I don't let go.
Tetra, short term. What are we looking at short term? What's your short term target?
With the DIN number, 50 to 80 cents, I think is reasonable.
Okay. Based on this news, you think it should be 50, 80 right
now?
No,
as soon as they get that DIN number, it goes there. If they get anything moving forward and they put a needle in someone's arm for the ARGE trial, they get positive results out on their the Reborn trial, against opioids, the stock's going through the roof.
Okay, when you say through the roof, we're talking about north of $2.
No, north of $1. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how the company's worth north of $1 if they demonstrate that they can beat opioids. I think it'll sell for that. Like, somebody probably comes along and pressures them into a sale at some point.
What about the $30? What happened? Didn't we talk about $20 before?
You got to keep going, Jack. Like,
that's a while.
Keep de-risking. Keep delivering. Well, yeah, and then demonstrate that if the ARGE trial works, and all of a sudden they have something that can help with sepsis or with COVID. You know what I mean? Like, people are dying all around the world from sepsis. Yeah.
It's basically, if this was, again, if TBP was like a U.S. listed NASDAQ company, even like $1, 50 cents, it would actually be probably $2 based on what they have, based on the pipeline. It would be bouncing in that like $1 to $2.50 range. It would be like one of those.
Yeah, I'm talking about the first monetization one that I talked about when I quoted that number was just a DIN number in Canada, right? Like, that's just one piece. ARGE is a game changer. Like, ARGE is the one that could be, it can make it a $20 stock, can make it a $30 stock. If they can deliver an antiviral and a therapeutic for sepsis and COVID, forget it. Like, that's something that Pfizer buys them, or Johnson & Johnson. They got enough troubles. Johnson & Johnson will be lining up. Like, Merck was in the news yesterday. Merck's got a bunch of stuff coming off patent. Merck's out there now shopping because they got to replace stuff coming off patent. Well, here's Tetra coming with a full suite of pipeline and moving it along. They're very attractive to somebody at some point.
Yeah. No, it's okay. And Skylight, SLHG, your target on you $9 at some point in the year.
Jack, that stock, I believe last time was what, $9.50, $9.60 is around that number. Would have been just over $9, so, which is almost the old 2, right? It went to $1.90, so it would have been $9.60 it went to. How the heck we're here and he's growing the business the way he is and doing what he's doing, I have no idea. Like, how did it go from $9 down, $9.60 down to $2.51? Yeah,
listen, the thing is, I would say, look,
manipulation. It's awesome.
Yeah,
whoever did it is good.
Yeah,
give him credit. Whoever did it, he's really freaking good at what he does.
Yeah. No, I mean, it really, because there was a lot of support in the stock. I'm looking at the chart right now. There's a lot of support, like in that $4 range. It really should never have gone below the $4.
No. And then what happened though, Jay, as soon as it went down under $3, that's when margin comes off. So anybody that was holding on for dear life, thinking, oh, like don't go under $3, don't go under $3.
The hodlers.
Broker calls them, says, hey, margin call, you got to unload that stock. They sell it, they put it into something else that has margin coverage, and they hold it for now. So I think there was a lot of pressure in the $250 to $3 down to $250. I said to the guys in my group, hey, if this thing goes down to the 250 range, like I said, if it breaks 3, it's going to hit 250. And they're like, you really think so? They're like, well, I hope it doesn't break 3. I said, honestly, I hope it does break 3. And they're like, why? Because I'm going to buy the crap out of it if it goes down to 250 range. Are you kidding me? I said, that's a gift. And I said, because then you'll know all the weak hands are out, and it has a chance to recover then. Because the people that are, there'll be nobody on it left in margin. That's why I said,
I think it's going to take a while. I'm looking at the chart. Like I think it would take quite a while for it to go back to. It might take like almost a year to go back to $9. I mean, I think stocks which can always go back to their old highs. I'm like a believer in that. Like that's It would take them a while. Like based on what they're doing now, it would take them a while.
But Jack, when it's at 250, we're talking about going back to $9. You're talking about like almost a 4-bagger from here. Like
it's a triple basically.
I know everybody says, "Oh, that's amazing." Whatever. Everybody. I know apparently everybody gets 10-baggers all the time. But
every day.
Where the heck else can you go buy a healthcare stock that is got an operating business that's operating well? The metrics are there, the numbers are there, all the validations there, but the stock performances suck. That's the one you buy. So I buy those. Like I said earlier, I don't get upset. I saw the opportunity. I saw the opportunity when Tetra was down originally at 17 cents and it took off. I was buying it like crazy. There's another one, Next Optic, that I was in, an AI company, which I introduced to Visibility. I think there's a great match there. That thing went down to 17, 18 cents. Some of these guys in the chat rooms, other pieces, are asking me. I said, guys, buy this stock. They got NVIDIA and Qualcomm as their partners. Once they figure that out and how to monetize their tech and AI, this stock's going to go through the roof. Well, it just went from 20 cents to 80 cents, like fast, no matter like really fast. So
I was looking at that thing. Yeah, it was funny. I was looking at like a couple of weeks ago. I was like, wow, it was just all of a sudden popped
20 to 80. And remember, that stock did the same thing before, and it went to 350. It was down to 18 cents. I helped fund them at 40 cents, at 18 cents. I helped fund them, and the funny part is, it went to like 350 in a flash. So don't think Visibility can't do it. Go from 30 cents to 350. Look at the chart on Next Optic. It did it. It went from 30 cents to 350. Then it got beaten up. All the insiders sold. The two original founders, they were, weren't of any value at this point in time. So they were no longer involved in the day-to-day of the company. They moved on. New chairman came in. Stock, look at the chart, going right back the other way. So because there's something physically changed with the business. I think that's what's happening with Visibility. I think it has the same chance to run to 350. Remember, with something though. Next Optic ran to 350 the first time with nothing. Now Next Optic's got deals with NVIDIA. They've got deals with Qualcomm and ARM. Like they're a real deal. That's why I introduced them to Jay at Visibility. I'm like, you know what? They can help you with your vision, the vision in your cameras, and your especially on the security side. You guys should work together. So
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So do I think Visibility can do it? Absolutely. Next Optic didn't have squat. Like remember, that's what I told you before. Find the ones that have the chance to do that actually have something. Imagine if they have substance. They have partners. They have money and a management that actually won't crash the car when it starts driving fast. That's what happens to a lot of these CEOs. They crash the car. They get cocky. They change. And I'll tell you one thing. We talked about Pratt earlier. From the time that stock was in the toilet down to 6-7 cents, to the time it went to $1.90 till today, when it's back down to 50 cents, 60 cents, he hasn't changed one bit. He's still committed. Got his, I would say all his important parts invested in this company. His family's counting on him. His friends are counting on him. He's very invested emotionally, personally, all those things. So do I think he can do it again? Absolutely can. So I like that scenario. I think he'll do it. And he's very vested in it. Same with Visibility. Jay's got a lot riding on this. He's got a massive payday waiting for himself at the end of this rainbow. I believe he's got a very good chance of success. And that's why I back him and I support him and I invest in them a lot.
Okay, so that wraps it up. Sean, thank you for coming back. Sorry about the internet connection. This is part of the entertainment here. And we'll see you. We'll catch up with you probably in the next big news thing. We'll get your
it's big and it's worth talking about.
on some of the big news coming up.
Exactly. All right. Well, thanks, Jack, for your time, and good luck.
Thank you, and thank you everybody for joining us today.
All right.
See you in the next one.